What's going on, guys? Star Power here, and welcome back to another episode of Inhuman Reactions. Today, I have finally decided to start doing what I've honestly been thinking about doing since the start of this year, pretty much. So, I've talked a few times about how I'm a big fan of Death Battle. Well, earlier, last month, they dropped first episode of Season 12, I think this is. And it's Ichigo from Bleach versus Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho. Now, I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't know much about either of these characters. The little I know is from prior episodes of Death Battle. So, But I'm going to come out and say it because I value honesty. I have seen this episode before a few times. So I'm not going to act like everything I'm seeing is new to me, but I will still try and react to it genuinely as I watch this video. So, and I'm going to be trying to do this for the newer episodes. I'm going to do my best to watch them for the first time in a recording so that you guys can get a genuine reaction out of me. But this one, I honestly forgot about it, and now I'm remembering, so if you don't want to watch me watch this when I've seen it multiple times, you can skip this video, I don't care. But enough talk, let's just get right into this. I love Death Battle so much.
Ichigo Kurosaki versus Yusuke Urameshi.
The substitute Shinigami of Bleach versus the spirit detective of Yu Yu Hakusho. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who
would win a death battle. Let's go.
Tell me, Boomstick, what happens when we die?
Whoa.
Endless nothingness? Jeez, man, I don't know. We just started.
Our souls
Big
are
facts.
ferried by Shinigami, gods of death, in an eternal cycle of death and rebirth.
That was my second guess.
And when a soul
Yeah,
goes
sure it was.
astray, warped by evil and regret, it's a Shinigami's job to purify such violent hollows and send them off to the realm of the dead, the Soul Society.
Works great till it doesn't. Enter Ichigo Kurosaki, whose tragic anime backstory.
Okay, hang on. Did I miss anything?
The Soul Society.
Works great till it doesn't. Enter Ichigo
Kurosaki of Harakura Town? Substitute Soul Reaper. Okay, that makes sense. This one I've actually never read.
Kurosaki, whose tragic anime backstory came way too early when his mom was killed by a hollow.
Okay. Full name, Ichigo Kurosaki, age 29. Height, 5'11". Weight, 145 pounds. Occupation, substitute Shinigami. Translator. Candidate to replace the Soul King. Wow. Trained by Urahara, Yoriichi, the Visored, Ishin, Squad Zero. Likes chocolate, Shakespeare, Orihime. Japanese name can be read as Strawberry. Oh, that's what they meant in Naruto versus Ichigo. Okay.
Reason number one why you should never want your kid to be the anime protagonist.
Left with his grief, young Ichigo was crushed under the weight of survivor's guilt.
So he lashed out the only way he knew how, beating people up.
But this wound began to heal when he found his calling, upon meeting a Shinigami named Rukia. To
Interesting.
stop a powerful hollow, she gave Ichigo her powers, rousing unseen potential within.
Boom! Just like that, Ichigo's a Shinigami.
Substitute Shinigami.
This footage is
to
a little
carry out
blurry.
his duties, Ichigo sheds his body for an invisible one made of spiritual matter called Reishi. He can wield vast amounts of spiritual energy, called Ryoku, and exert it offensively in the form of spiritual pressure, or Reiatsu.
Okay, that's a lot of big words, but all I...
While Shinigami are invisible, they are not intangible and can be touched by normal people. So stated in Chapter 9 of the manga through the Viz translation, though the Viz translation mistakenly said otherwise. That makes sense.
really means is he's a super-powered ghost with an epic sword. His spirit aura is so strong, he can stun-lock foes, crushing them under his own power,
Dang.
even fatally.
He controls spirit matter in and around him, hardening his skin for defense and leaping off of invisible footholds in the air. Paired with speed-boosting skills like Shunpo, he
Ben's Ryoku, Reiatsu, Break. There are too many R words in Bleach. Shinigami skills and Pakto. Akuda, Reishi manipulation, flight, Loot Vine, I guess. Zengetsu, fusion of Shinigami and Hollow powers. Quincy Zengetsu, manifestation of Quincy power.
can virtually fly.
Say goodbye to the kid who beat up bullies for their lunch money, and hello to the town's new superhero, with fellow Ghostbusters Orihime, Chad, and Uryu. Plus Rukia, it was the Shinigami's job to tear Hollows a new hole.
Well balanced.
The dude just named Chad in a Japanese anime is really funny to me. Like, oh, who's my friends? We got Orihime, Uryu, and then just my friend Chad over here. He's from America. He's a transfer.
Balancing responsibilities at school, of course. GPA comes first, and maybe a...
Wait, why is that girl just eating a whole ass loaf of bread? What is this? Why is she just eating the whole loaf of bread? That can't be healthy.
And maybe a round or two of tech.
But it wouldn't be possible without his Shinigami blade, a Zanpakuto. It's basically a superpowered spirit that's physically a sword. Ghost Sword!
Though strangely,
that's
Ichigo's
confusing.
sword is composed of two distinct spirits, both named Zangetsu, which isn't confusing at all.
Just call him Old Man Zangetsu and Hollow Zangetsu. Anyway, the double Ghost Sword gives Ichigo lots of new moves, including his trademark attack, the Sword Beam to end all sword beams, Getsuga Tensho!
Getsuga Tensho is incredibly powerful, and so effective that Ichigo developed multiple variants. He can fire it as a wave, detonate it mid-attack to act as a barrier, and combine two at once into the even stronger Getsuga Jujisho.
To cut even the biggest hollows down to size, Ichigo was ridiculously strong, even from frame 1.
He can make giant shockwaves and parry spiritual light beams from a Menos Grande. And these aren't fake, slower-than-light lasers. Guidebooks confirm they're real light, and the novels say so too.
Plus, early on, Uryu moved so fast that he left his own shadow behind.
Other faster-than-light feats include Aroniro dodging sunlight, lieutenants dodging Negashion beams. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I'm probably butchering all these names. Nanao evading Lile Barrow's Light of Judgment, and Lil Toto dodging Yua's that word. Honestly, with that one, I'm not even gonna try.
But as Ichigo became more involved with the Soul Society, he quickly found that he wasn't good enough.
That's a cool
This
whip.
Byakuya guy's so fast, Ichigo can't even see him. Time for a good old-fashioned training arc. Hit the music!
Of
Until
course,
now,
he's got
Zangetsu
like
had
a
operated
boxing
only in its base
bit
state,
on.
Shikai. So Ichigo learned to release its inner power, a 10 times boost that takes most Shinigami a decade to master. Bankai!
In Bankai, his speed skyrocketed, letting him turn the tables on douchebag Byakuya. Even in Shikai, he blocked an attack that could destroy the whole frickin' Soul Society.
Wait a minute.
Destroy the whole...
Doesn't this thing look familiar to people? This looks like Kurama. I don't know if that was intentional or not. You know what? I can't even say, but I don't know.
frickin' Soul Society.
Because Ichigo's greatest gift is his potential to improve. Despite only being a teenager, he mastered swordsmanship well enough to thrash experts who had been training for centuries. He can quickly adapt to new weapons and styles mid-fight,
That whip thing is
surpassing his
kinda
limits
sick.
time and time again.
Like when he took on Catboy Grimjow. He was getting clamped, but as soon as he heard Orihime cheering him on, that was all he needed to smash that kitty.
You mean
Phrasing.
Grimjow, right?
Yeah, but even with that main character energy, Ichigo couldn't match Big Bad Aizen. With just a finger, Aizen stopped Ichigo's Bankai and his theme song, Rude.
Ichigo needed to tap into his unexplained hollow power. Except Hollow Zangetsu wasn't going to make it easy.
Old Man Zang's pretty chill, but this guy's a menace.
Still, Ichigo needed his help and conjured a hollow mask to expand his power. But this meant the hollow within only grew stronger.
Masked up, he can fire lasers, bypass super senses, and heal lost limbs. But piss him off enough, and he'll go full hollow. And you really don't want that.
Hollowification exceeds even Bankai, and was enough to crush Ukiura in a battle that shook all of Hueco Mundo, the world of hollows.
Full hollow Ichigo could even tear through all 3 layers of hell.
But with help from his secret Shinigami father, Ichigo continued to train for months in the Dangai, a corridor between dimensions, until he was finally ready to challenge Aizen.
Challenge is an understatement. He manhandled Aizen, shattered mountains with sheer aura.
Aizen had evolved to threaten the Soul King, a deity whose power stabilizes the 3 realms. Yeah, they mentioned that in Ichigo vs. Naruto.
And flex so
And
hard he
Aizen
smashed out of the black
Naruto.
coffin, which crushes space like a mini black hole.
And yet, it still wasn't enough. So by becoming Getsuga itself, Ichigo unleashed his ultimate attack, Mugetsu, defeating Aizen at the cost of all his power.
He might have saved
Yikes.
everyone, but now it was back to Normieville.
Ichigo never truly realized until then just how much being a Shinigami meant to him. The power to protect others, his drive, his pride in himself was gone. He would give anything to get it back.
And he did, thanks to a surprise assist from Rukia. Boom! Shinigami again!
Just in time for
Nice.
a 1,000-year blood war with a final endgame boss, Yuhabak.
Who planned to end everything. And while other Shinigami tried their best, only Ichigo was special enough to pull it off.
His father was a Shinigami. His mother was a member of the ancient Quincy's and possessed by a hollow. Hence, his 2 Zanpakuto spirits, one Quincy, the other hollow and Shinigami, made Ichigo a perfect union to break Yuhabak's plan. Finally, Ichigo understood himself, fully unifying with both Zanpakuto spirits within. With that came a new Shikai and 2 new...
Those swords look sick. I especially like this one. That one's just a cool design, just overall.
Zanpakuto.
True Shikai! If you thought
Alright, let's read these. Sliced through the chains of hell. Blocked the world-destroying Sokyoku, I think. Casually reacted to Ceres and Balas. Carried Byakuya's hundreds of millions of cuts. Crushed Ukiura's Lanza del Relampago. Shattered Aizen's Hado 90. Kurohitsugi, that's the Black Coffin move. Matched Soul King Yua's realm-ending power. Damn. Defeated Renji, Kenpachi, Byakuya, Grimjow, Ukiura, Aizen, Ginjo, Yua. Oh, that's impressive.
Ichigo was strong before, oh boy, he's the strongest Shinigami alive. They're dead. Undead? Yeah.
Stronger than Kenpachi, who could split the Dangai in half. Stronger than Senjumaru, who shook heaven and earth across the realms. And strong enough to match Yuhabak, even after he absorbed the Soul King.
Yua stated True Shikai Ichigo regained the power he used to defeat Aizen, insinuating that he reached or surpassed his prior peak. Wow.
Up with Soul King power, Yuhabak could nuke all 3 realms.
Also, his
the
look
human
with the
world,
eyes
Soul
on his
Society,
forehead
and
is
Hueco
creepy as
Mundo,
hell.
plus the Dangai and Garganta in between, which have a bunch of pocket dimensions sprinkled in. Hell, just the Soul King's corpse sent a shockwave across all the realms.
And it's not a matter of disrupting the flow of souls. Yuhabak was going to end everything through sheer power alone.
But Ichigo still wasn't done powering up.
Entering a new half-hollow form and merging his Getsuga Tencho with a mighty hollow attack, the Gran Ray Sero.
Making a giant crescent slash that rips through space itself.
All that power culminating
Wow.
in his true Bankai. A power so great, even Yuhabak was scared of it.
Joke's on you! Ichigo didn't even need it! You're done!
Ichigo was finally content. And 10 years later, he remains a Shinigami, having found the courage to stand on the edge of life and death, conquer his fears, and walk onward.
Cool.
Most teenagers have no idea what they want to do with their life. However, that was hardly a problem for juvenile delinquent Yusuke Urameshi, because he only ever wanted to do one thing.
Throw hands! It don't matter who the ops are.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Name, Yusuke Urameshi. Age, 18. Wow, I expected him to be older. Height, 5'9". Trained by Genkai. Occupations, spirit detective, ramen salesman. Descended from Demon King Ryzen. Likes fighting. Virtua Fighter. Ichigo. Fights anyone, be they women, old folk, or babies. I bet that's a quote from the actual manga. The original shonen trash talker. Nice.
They women, old folk, or babies, Yusuke lived to fight. It's what gave life meaning. Who cares about stupid things like friends and family?
Which is why it was so surprising when one day he threw himself in front of a speeding car to save a child, bringing that reckless life to a screeching halt.
The Yu Yu Hakusho anime somewhat differs from the manga, particularly the ending, but expands upon the main story. Also, we are prioritizing the Japanese manga over the English translation. Yeah, you know what? That makes sense. Because sometimes
Raccoon claims another victim.
Because sometimes the English people can mistranslate a lot of stuff. I heard about a couple instances of that in Dragon Ball. Also, imagine the first episode of an anime. It ends by the main character getting hit by a truck and dying. Like, damn. And that's just where it cuts, and you don't get all of this shit till next episode. That would suck to watch.
This is chapter 1 of a battle shonen,
The first
so death
episode,
is hardly the
at
end.
least.
Surprisingly, though, it wasn't a spooky skeleton in a hood who arrived to claim Yusuke's soul. It was
Grim.
a blue-haired anime girl on a broomstick.
This was Botan, whose job was to ferry Yusuke's newly deceased spirit off to the afterlife.
Technically, she rides an oar, like Witch's broom, ferryman of the dead and all that. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Unfortunately, or I guess fortunately for him, he was such an asshole that the underworld didn't see his selfless death coming and didn't have any space prepared for him. Imagine being such a menace to society that the second you do something nice, hell itself gets caught with its pants down.
So the
That's
underworld
hilarious.
surrogate king, Koenma, offered Yusuke an alternative. He could return to life as an agent of the afterlife, a spirit detective, solving supernatural crimes and fighting off demonic threats to humanity.
Naturally, Yusuke did what anyone would do in that situation, then told Satan Jr. to stuff it. I mean, he was never really good for anything and no one was gonna miss him. So what's the point of coming back to life? It's not like his mom would be sad, or his childhood sweetheart Keiko would be heartbroken, or even his rival Kuwabara would shed manly tears. Oh man.
At the sight of loved ones who cared far more than he ever expected, Yusuke had a change of heart and accepted Koenma's offer, returning to life with a new purpose and a new job.
And newfound ass-kicking ability.
I know I'm pausing a lot, but forgive me, this is the nature of React content. I feel like if I was given a choice like that, I would need to have a couple conditions if that was going to be what was going to happen. First of all, the one thing I would want above anything else is when I tell my loved ones what the hell happened to me, I would like them to just believe it and not ask too many questions. Just because I would probably still not know if what happened was even real. But also, I would want a good trainer, which he got, and I would prefer my old body just so I don't have to get used to a new one. You know what I mean? Even if the old body was damaged, like, just make me a new one that's identical or something, I don't know.
In his quest to beat the dog shit out of demonkind, Yusuke learned to harness Reiki, or spirit energy. He's ridiculously strong, fast, and durable, heals from wounds quickly, and can see spirits invisible to mortal men.
Even early on, Yusuke could parry Suzaku's lightning arrows, which are formed from real lightning called down from the sky. And with the help of legendary warrior Genkai, he mastered a signature move that could blast anyone to smithereens.
My favorite shonen move ever, the Spirit Gun! At first, Yusuke had a limited number of shots, but eventually, he turned it into his personal WMD. Stronger than any weapon on Earth, he could go finger blasting around as much as he wants.
The Spirit
Again,
Gun is
phrasing.
more versatile than it appears. Yusuke can bounce it off surfaces for sneak attacks, propel himself around like a rocket in flight, and produce massive explosions with each shot.
He can twist it up for a spirit shotgun, a mighty AoE blast, or a spirit punch, where he keeps the energy stored in his fists and clobbers the hell out of you. And the spirit wave, a Kamehameha from before we uncultured Americans knew what a Kamehameha was.
Yusuke may be a punk, but he's deceptively skilled and cunning in battle.
He's not afraid to fight dirty, throwing his shoes, using sleight of hand to place cigarettes on his foe to track them in the dark.
Personally, I'd call that smart, and his hand-to-hand is A+. He's matched experts like Cabano, who's said to have mastered all forms of martial combat.
But his best secret is how quickly he improves. All it takes is a round of training or someone threatening his friends, and Yusuke's power will spike to match stronger enemies, even if it means literally burning through his own life force for a power-up.
All known demons and demon fighters are individually ranked on a scale of power from E to S.
E and D class demons are nothing special. We're talking local threats at best. C and B are getting a bit dicey in a destroy your city kind of way. A and S? Well, hold on to your ass. We're talking end of the world.
As Yusuke forged bonds with new allies, like demons Hiei and Kurama, as well as his old pal Kuwabara, he found himself facing opponents he couldn't beat, such as the monstrous Toguro, who could vaporize weaker demons and crush their souls with sheer aura.
But Yusuke needed to survive
too
and
many
protect
muscles.
his loved ones, so he had no choice but to rank up, even if it meant absorbing the power of a small star. Thanks, Genkai!
Our sun has an average luminosity of 380 septillion watts, or joules per second. Small stars like red dwarfs output about 1/10,000th of that. So this spirit orb's energy per second would equal about 9 million megatons of TNT.
Enough to send
Holy
Toguro
crap.
to the grave.
Even after pushing past his own limits, Yusuke would still need more power to face S-class threats like Sensui, a past spirit detective gone bad, and a great measuring stick for what top-tier demons are capable of.
Sensui was so yoked he couldn't even use all his power in the human world without threatening to bring down the whole thing. He compared destroying the whole goddamn planet to kicking an anthill.
According to Genkai, Yusuke could destroy the planet too, if he really wanted. And
Based on Sensui and Genkai's wording, you're likely referring to complete planetary destruction and not just raising the surface. That is intense.
even A-class threats like King Enma have shaken both the demon and human worlds.
That Enema guy is strong as balls.
Enema.
In the past, he fought the Netherworld King Yakumo, who could eradicate the entire human world and remake the Netherworld.
But Yusuke's power surpassed both of them, to the point where he overloaded Yakumo with his own energy. And do keep in mind, Yusuke was still only A-class at the time, a far cry from S-classes like Sensui, whose sacred energy was 10 times his superior.
But not for long, sucker, because turns out Yusuke was a demon himself.
Literally. Yusuke is the descendant of an ancient and incredibly powerful being, one of the strongest in existence, Ryzen, the Demon King.
With his Bazoku mark, Yusuke can channel Ryzen's spirit for a huge power boost and a massive thirst for murder boost. This was his first taste of a dangerous new type of spirit energy, Yoki.
A form of energy used by demons. Like normal Reiki, it can be amplified by intense emotions. Unlike normal Reiki, its use creates a pleasurable feeling, feeding into the user's rage and bloodlust, the feral animal within.
Got that Jiraiya
So
from
Yusuke
Naruto
upgraded
hair.
his spirit gun to a demon gun. It's the same thing, but red. Oh, and it's strong enough to blast Sensui past the horizon, putting Yusuke's power firmly in S-class.
And making him a
Nice.
prime candidate to rule the demon world. But as he was thrust into a tournament vying for that throne, Yusuke began to wonder if all this power was what he really wanted.
Self-reflection? From I'll kick your ass, Yusuke Urameshi? Nah, we can worry about that later. There's a tournament to win. Which one of you, girl, baby, or grandparents is first?
Even then, as Yusuke took on the Demon King Yomi in an
By the Demon World Tournament, Yusuke was superior to Hiei, who survived hits from Makuro that cut through space. You know you're jacked when somebody who can cut through literal space is no big deal to you. Imagine what that must be like.
Epic final battle, he was still growing. He had become far stronger than before, even achieving a unique version of the Mozoku form separate from Raizen's influence.
And a brand spanking new form of power. Kinda like Sensui's secret energy, but even better. It's so unprecedented, it doesn't even have a name, but it's golden glowy.
Strong enough to clash with Yomi, creating an explosion that split the heavens above and decimated the Okunin tree below, pushing the Demon King himself to his absolute limits.
Alright, winner of the Dark Tournament. Oh, so I'm guessing the Dark Tournament was everybody before Yomi? I don't know, I've never watched this show, cut me some slack here. Parried Suzaku's lightning arrows, contained the spirit orb's energy, withstood Togoro's demonic aura, annihilated a 10-kilometer plateau in 0.45 seconds, overloaded Yakumo's realm-ending power sphere, decimated an Okunin tree with Demon King Yomi, defeated Hiei, Rando, Suzaku, Chu, Baken, Jin, Toguro, Sensui.
But then,
Wow, that's
Yusuke
impressive.
lost. It's not all bad though. Even if being king would have been cool, Yusuke realized he wanted something more. He'd grown up and chose to walk a new path.
It was always Yusuke's connections with others that motivated him above all else. And it was in those connections that he found his happy ending.
But I wouldn't piss him off if you can avoid it. Get him in the right mood or threaten the human world, and the spirit detective will beat your stupid ass.
That's a funny way to end it.
All right, the combatants are
Alright,
set.
let's do
and
this.
We've run the data through all possibilities.
It's
Also,
time for a
unrelated, but am I the only one that still,
battle!
like, partially kind of wants Jump Force just because it looks fun? I probably am, because I know it's not the greatest game ever. Alright, moving on.
That's a demon. That's a hollow. No doubt about it.
I love shots like that. I love that he just has to do this, and then it's an attack. That's hilarious to me. Going. They just straight resort to throwing hands. Why? Why would you shoot him in the nuts? Yeah, that's not terrifying at all. Booyah.
Chump change. Reckless idiot!
True.
What a baby! Little demon energy got you scared?
That's cool. Nah. Simple yet effective.
Getsuga! Two at once? Damn, why didn't I think of that?
I love the comedy in Death Battle.
Give in to me, Yusuke. Let's devour him together.
That's
Hell
cool.
no! This is my fight, jackass! You just told me back!
God, the music slaps.
Yeesh, rude awakening. This one's a piece of work. Need a hand, partner?
Let's do it. Like old times.
On! Cut!
Nice.
Tensa! Sangetsu!
I like the chain on his sword. There goes that tree.
Is that the best you can do? I can go even faster if you'd like. Hell yeah!
Hold on. Hold on.
That's
Pardon
the
me
best you
1
can do?
second.
I can go even faster if you'd like. Hell yeah!
Damn it, I missed it. Hold
I
on.
can go even faster if you'd like.
There's this one frame.
Hell yeah!
This frame is so funny to me. Just like he's this is literally like he's in your face. His expression is just goofy. If I can, I'm gonna try and make that the thumbnail. Oh, that's fucking funny as hell. That's incredibly. That's dumb.
Bring it on, asshole! I'll kill you even if it kills me! I'm putting it all on the line! You better do the same!
Oh, Mugetsu?
Screw that!
No, Grand Ray Zero. Oh, that tree is just entirely cut in half.
Give me a freaking break. See you on the other side.
KO! You, think the afterlife offers...
Now, I gotta be honest, I've made tier lists of the deaths in Death Battle before, and overall, I'm not gonna lie, this one kinda sucks. Like, there are definitely worse ones, but it's just one slash across his chest, and he doesn't even, like, split in half or anything. Like, yes, there is some blood, and you can tell that there's a lot of damage there, but there are so many other Death Battle deaths that are way more creative or brutal than that. Like, come on. That's like the one area I feel like they kind of dropped the ball on this one.
frequent flyer miles?
There's a lot to cover here, so let's break this down into 4 chapters, starting with their abilities.
Yusuke could
Alright.
see Ichigo no problem, and resist auras like Taguro's that are similar to Reiatsu, so Ichigo couldn't cheese a win right away.
Otherwise, Yusuke was outmatched. Sure, the Spirit Gun could potentially match the Getsuga Tensho, and he had stat-boosting forms like the Mizoku. Ichigo, however, had more varied powers, a better healing factor, greater stamina given his months of Dongai training,
And all those swords! He just had way more abilities to play with.
Yeah.
likewise, speed was a fairly easy call. Yusuke could react to lightning early on, and
Spirit Gun could bounce off mirrors, but it has never been described as light, unlike Sero's, and exhibits contradictory properties. Likewise, nobody reacts to the light produced by Mushashi's Photon Sword. I don't know if I even said that right at all.
obviously got much faster over time. Looking at this blast from his clash with Yomi, it erupted upwards at 57% the speed of light.
But Ichigo was faster than light from the start, and he's gotten
yeah.
faster too. He couldn't even see Byakuya at first, but blitzed him in the rematch. Plus, he's got tons of training and power-ups since then.
The Soul King
Oh,
Shockwave,
totally.
for example, expanded across the realms at thousands of times light speed, and Ichigo reacted to attacks from Soul King Yuhabak that utilized the same power. So, Ichigo takes speed.
Yeah.
But Yusuke's fought plenty of foes faster and more varied than him, so it's extremely important to examine their tactics and ability to adapt mid-fight.
This is kind of both their things. Ichigo has styled on guys with centuries of training and has over a decade of experience as a Shinigami. He's pretty good at figuring out new weapons and styles.
Meanwhile, Yusuke was flexible and quick to adapt, mixing cleverness with exceptional hand-to-hand. He's good enough to match Kabano, who mastered every martial art. Ichigo's decent at hand-to-hand, but it's not his go-to in the...
Ichigo's martial arts are comparable to his friend Tatsuki, who performed well in a national competition with a broken arm. Like the Olympics going on now. People are skiing down hills with, like, hurt legs and shit. I mean, there comes a point where you have to prioritize your own safety over doing well in a sport. I mean, seriously. But, you know, I'm also nowhere near an Olympic athlete, so I can't talk. Anyway, however, this level of skill would not compare to characters like Rando and Kibano, whom Yusuke has fought.
same way.
Makes
So,
sense.
both had their strong suits, with advantages on each side. It's fair to call this one a draw.
Leaving only the
Yeah.
biggest winning factor, which could have superseded all other advantages.
Power.
Between Sensui, Genkai, and Enma, Yusuke could definitely destroy the planet. Examining his sky-splitting clash with Yomi and measuring its scale, that's about 4 quadrillion megatons of TNT, which is
Yikes.
crazy.
Similarly, mid-series Ichigo could shake Huecomundo, tear through hell, and block attacks that could destroy the Soul Society. But at his peak, he beat Yuhabak, who could destroy several realms, which is far more impressive than just one.
To be fair, Yusuke also beat Yakumo, who could threaten 2 realms at the same time, pretty close to Yuhabak's threatening 3.
And Yusuke far surpassed Yakumo afterward. The gap between him and Sensui alone was 10 times. So there could be an argument for Yusuke's power surpassing Ichigo if 3 realms was truly Ichigo's limit.
Fortunately for Ichigo, it's not. Yuhabak was also gonna destroy the Garganta, which
And the Dangai. The exact size of Bleach's realms is unclear, but likely larger than the realms that Yakumo threatened. Ichigo still exceeds Yusuke with even the most conservative interpretations. I mean, that makes sense. The way I see it, if you destroy, like, let's say you have 2 places. Let's just call them planets for the sake of argument. 2 planets, that a pathway in between those planets, that's like a pocket dimension or something, that, like, people can travel between. If you destroy the planets, I would see there'd be no reason for the in-between space to exist at all, because it has nowhere to go to or from anymore. So in my head, this makes sense. But I know some people have actually watched Bleach and know more, but just from the outside looking in, their logic makes a lot of sense.
has at least 29 pocket dimensions inside it.
Each containing at least a planet and star, much larger than Yusuke's planet-sized worlds. Plus, Ichigo matched Yuhabak in True Shikai, without his additional boost from Half Hollow and True Bankai.
As always with Death Battle, there's arguments either way, but the way we see it, even being generous with Yusuke's power and conservative with Ichigo's, the gap was just too big, giving Ichigo the final edge.
Yep.
Sorry if things got messy, but that's just how Ichigo's.
The winner is Ichigo Kurosaki.
Nice.
Next time on Death Battle.
So I know who's next. They've said it before, and it's been out for a few weeks. Metal Sonic versus Cell.
Subscribe and join as a member to see more Death Battle. Thanks for watching.
Alright. That wraps up that episode. Overall, decent episode. The only reason I'm saying decent is because I don't really have a lot of stake in this, having never seen Bleach or Yu Yu. So, like, these, like, anime fights usually don't excite me too much, because I don't really watch a lot of anime. But I still like watching and learning about other shows. I mean, it's interesting. That's why I've seen every Death Battle. Now, I'm excited for Metal Sonic vs. Cell. I don't know too much about Cell, but I know a good bit about Metal Sonic. That's all I'm going to say. Because, you know, people could pull stuff, like, what I've learned from Death Battle is to never count anyone out. At least until the actual episode drops. Like, that was still my motto, even for things that should have been obvious, like Goku vs. Superman Part 3, or SpongeBob vs. Super Friends Aquaman. Like, I had a feeling that I knew who was going to win, but I was like, maybe this other character has something they can pull out of their ass to maybe have a chance. So, I'm just going to wait and see, and I'm excited for that one to come out. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Until next time, shine on.